Well, hello everybody. We are at the nitty-gritty of my Beatles ranking series where I'm ranking the entire Beatles catalog. We're going to start with number 29, and I think we're going to go up until number 16. So my final video will be my top 15 Beatles songs. So number 29, we're going to go with the Revolver classic, Eleanor Rigby, one of the top, orchestral, baroque pop, whatever you want to call it, songs that the Beatles ever did. Again, one of those songs where it's only one Beatle on the track with Paul. The whole, string section, it's just these little vignettes of stories that just take you exactly to where you want to go. It's all about the lonely people. Almost could be a John Lennon song, the way that, the loneliness and the heartache is in the song. It's not lyrically, it's not really a Paul McCartney song, but I'm interested to know if John Lennon had any input into the track. But again, you have the two stories about Father Mackenzie, who's in a church where nobody comes. You got Eleanor Rigby, who's just this lonely woman darning her socks in the night when nobody's there. We all know the song. It's a beautiful song. Great double track vocals by McCartney. The I look at all the lonely people. It's just so good. Very ELO sounding. You can tell that ELO would draw inspiration from songs like this. Um, you know, they love the Beatles. So anyway, Eleanor Rigby, number 29, number 28, possibly George Harrison's greatest song to a lot of people, possibly the greatest Beatles song to a lot of people. I know it was Frank Sinatra's favorite. That's Something from Abbey Road. Again, one of those songs that you can't deny its greatness. I love every minute of the song, every second of it. I love the intro by Ringo, the of course Ringo's not playing the guitar, it's George, but you got to explain some of these things to some people. They think that you're being serious. Something by the Beatles. It's the second track off of Abbey Road. Again, there's the whole joke, Sinatra called it his favorite Lennon-McCartney song, which of course it's not. It's a Harrison track. It's been covered by a ton of people. Um, you know, a little overdone for me in terms of the radio play. It's one of the few Beatles songs that they still play on, regular radio stations. But, again, I couldn't deny it. I couldn't put it further back, but I also couldn't put it further ahead just because, there is a little fatigue factor to it. And especially since, Paul McCartney has been playing the song on ukulele since 2002. So the song has never left our subconscious, but a great song nonetheless. Number 27, I think this was Ringo's favorite song that he played on. It's Rain, the single from 1966. Just a great kind of trippy song with the backwards tape loops. That great drumming, that boom, down, down, down. It's kind of like this Indian sounding electric guitar on the track. It's got that great John Lennon kind of drawn out vocal. When the rain comes, they run and hide their head. What a great track. I mean, could you have imagined this song on Revolver? If you had taken this song over a song like Love You Too, sorry, Glenn. Revolver would have gone up further in my album rankings that I did a few weeks back. What can you say? It's a killer track, killer drumming by Ringo. Love every second of it. 26, one of the dark horses, no pun intended, of the list. Your Mother Should Know from Magical Mystery Tour. Again, one of those schmaltzy McCartney show tune songs. I love the intro, the introductory vocals, the ooh, let's all get up and dance to a song. And then, of course, you just picture the Beatles in their white suits on the album cover from the film with the corsages on their lapels. Of course, McCartney is wearing the black flower, the black rose, kind of hinting like, oh, Paul is dead. Everybody that fell for that. It was kind of the Beatles' little tongue-in-cheek thing to, freak people out. I love the whole, sing it again, da 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 da. It's just, McCartney is just a master of melody. He is, and this song is no exception. So, Your Mother Should Know, number 26. Number 25, my favorite track off of Revolver, and that is Tomorrow Never Knows, the first track that the Beatles recorded for Revolver, last track on the album. And to me, it's the song that introduced the world to a colorized version of the Beatles. The Beatles went from black and white to color with this song. even though there were steps of progress all the way up to this point. Even the Revolver album is, in black and white. This is the track that turned the Beatles into the architects of the studio recording. It's got these tape loops on it. The backwards vocals at the end. It's one of those songs where John was pulling from Indian music, where it was only one note the whole song, and it's got that great boom ba ba boom ba da ba dum boom ba bum boom ba da ba da the whole time from Ringo. Again, kind of the distorted vocal from John, and then again the whole Indian philosophy: turn off your mind, relax, float downstream. It is not dying. And then he's holding that note again with that drone type singing that is so popular in Indian music. The reason I put this song higher than George's Indian music is because it's rock and roll instruments. There are a few Indian instruments in it, but I just love how it sounds. I love the backwards loops. The first time that I heard even a remote clipping of this song was from the Love soundtrack, where they merged it with Within You Without You. So I knew the drum loop before I knew the actual lyrics. But Tomorrow Never Knows, number 25. Number 24, the last cover on my list from with the Beatles, Till There Was You, from Meredith Willson and the Music Man score. Beautiful track. I love the acoustic guitar played by George. The doon 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 doo 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 doom ba doo 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 boom ba doo 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 ba doo 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 bum ba ba, just like that. That's exactly how it sounds. One of Paul McCartney's top vocal performances. The whole, then there was music and wonderful roses, they tell me. And you can tell McCartney was inspired by songs like this, that he was inspired by the music of his father. Then he would take it, to do the other songs that I've mentioned, the schmaltzy, Martha, My Dear. Martha, My Dear. I don't know what that accent was, it just came out. Martha, My Dear, Your Mother Should Know, stuff like that. I love the track. I think it's a beautiful song. I love the last note, till there was you. And then again, one of those great chords at the end. Doom, love it. Number 23 from Magical Mystery Tour again. Again, the John Lennon, one of his magnum opuses, Opie. I Am the Walrus, the song that makes zero sense to the average listener. The song that George Harris, one of those Beatles, John Lennon, one of those songs that John Lennon intentionally wrote to confuse people because he was getting kind of fed up about the Beatles being overanalyzed. Very similar situation that Bob Dylan had around this time, where he was putting out albums like Self-Portrait. People knew that the Beatles at their core were just a band that was having fun. They weren't about deep meanings in their songs, but like anybody that is considered the greatest, they're going to be overanalyzed. And I Am the Walrus is just a great psychedelic song with that, again, distorted John vocal, just that intro with the strings, again, ELO, big influence on ELO. And then, of course, you have the whole lyric, I am his, you are me, and we are all together, one on one. And then, I am the Eggman, they are the Eggman, I am the Walrus, goo goo gajoob. Deep lyrics right there, but it works, and I love it. I love the track a lot. Number 22 from the White Album, Blackbird. Again, one of those songs that probably 10 years ago, I would have said this was one of my favorite Beatles songs. It has been overdone. It's one of those songs where people are like, oh yeah, I love the Beatles, but I only know 2 tracks, All You Need Is Love and Blackbird. And it's just like, it kind of bugs you, but then you got to remember that somebody's got to start somewhere when they start their Beatles journey. One of those songs kind of civil rights related that Paul wrote, again, 1968 on their trip to India. One of those great songs that, again, he took from Bach. It was a song that George and Paul would play at dinner parties, and they always played it slightly wrong because they were just going off of how they remembered it. And then he turned that into Blackbird. You can hear his foot tapping, very intimate. It's got the birds chirping at the end. Beautiful track, beautiful. One of my first finger-picking songs that I learned on guitar, albeit incorrectly. 21 from Help, The Night Before. Love this track. Love Paul's vocals on it. I love the background vocals from George and John. The night before. And then Paul's got that grit, Were you telling lies the night before? Now today I'll find you have changed your mind. Great song. Love it. Just love the vocals on it. That's the main reason that it's so high. Again, another one of those songs with great vocals. Fantastic single from the Ringos, from the Beatles. It's also oftentimes considered Ringo's theme. It's This Boy. One of those great vocals. Probably my favorite John Lennon vocal. Again, it's got that great intro, that ba-ding, ba-ding, ding, bum, ba-da-dun, dun, 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 kind of had like a little bit of a doo-wop sound to it. Fantastic three-way harmony by the three main singers. And then you've got that bridge where John Lennon just rips it, where he goes, oh, and this boy won't be happy just to love you. And then he hits that beautiful, but oh my, it's just so good. And I remember the first time I heard that, and when he hits that part, till she's seen you cry, like he does that a cappella cry, and you can just hear the emotion. It's just a fantastic song. Love that track so much. I love it. I love a good song, harmonious song. Number 19, the opening track to the Beatles' career. I Saw Her Standing There. It's got that great count in by Paul. The 1, 2, 3, 4. Love it. Love the whole it's kind of got that little innuendo to it. She was just 17, you know what I mean. And the way she looked was way beyond. It's just so good. Then the great harmony. How can I dance with another? Oh, the very first song of the Beatles, they've got that stereotypical ooh, that the Beatles would become so well known for in those early years. Again, great chorus. Well, my heart went boom when I crossed that room, and I held her hand in mine. Oh, we dance. Just a fantastic vocal performance. What a bass line. If you listen to that bass line, Paul McCartney is all over that fretboard. Love it. And what a great opening to the Beatles catalog, with the 1, 2, 3, 4, just so good. Number 18 from the White Album, Mother Nature's Son, one of the great acoustic songs that the Beatles ever put out. A great version of it exists from John Denver. If you don't know the John Denver version, check it out. I know my buddy Matthew Street is a big fan of that. It's one of those songs that I first learned on guitar. Again, trying to finger pick. Beautiful song, kind of about just being in nature. Born a poor young country boy, Mother Nature's son. All day long, I'm singing songs for everyone. Then you've got that great do 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 do. It's a beautiful track. And then the final note, oh, Mother Nature's son. Fantastic, love it to death. Number 17 from Rubber Soul, Nowhere Man, one of my favorite vocal performances by the Beatles. I love the co-lead vocal with John and Paul. Again, it starts off a cappella. He's a real nowhere man sitting. And then just the kicker to the whole song is the big build-up at the end with Paul going, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Boom, 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 boom. It's just gold. It's a golden track. And again, the whole, doesn't have a point of view, knows not where he's going to. Could it be autobiographical a little bit about John? It could possibly be. Again, it's one of those songs that I would have loved to have seen the Beatles do live, because by this point they were starting to wind down their touring 1965, 66. And I would have loved to have seen the Beatles do this, a little bit older. Like, again, if they had gotten back together in the 80s, if John, obviously if John hadn't been killed, any of that. Anyway, Nowhere Man, number 17, love it. And then number 16, where I'm going to stop today before my final video, Oh Darling, number 16 from Abbey Road. Again, could be my favorite McCartney vocal that's ever been recorded. Again, one of those songs, kind of like Twist and Shout, where McCartney was shredding those vocals in the studio. By this point, he had done it several times. Again, he was getting some strain. He was doing kind of like an old Motown kind of sound. and it's got that great opening chord. Doo-doo-doo. It's some sort of like E augmented chord. And then he goes, "Oh, darling, bound, don't, don't." It's very R&B, very, you know, could have been like a Percy Sledge kind of "When a Man Loves a Woman" kind of arrangement. I would have been great to hear some of those guys do that song more. And then he's got that, where the piano's kicking in, where he's going, "When you told me you didn't need me anymore." It's just the versatility of Paul McCartney's voice. You go from a song like "Till There Was You," a song like "Lady Madonna," a song like, you know, "Long Tall Sally," and then a song like "Oh Darling." That's one guy. It blows my mind. And I know a lot of people put "Oh Darling" on their lower ranking of Abbey Road for songs. It's right up there. I mean, this is just it's just an absolute gem of a song. Um, yeah, what can I say? It's possibly Paul McCartney's best vocal performance that he ever did, and I'll stick by that. So there you go. That is 29 through 16. I've got one more video in this series coming up. It's the top 15. So y'all be good. Take care. Thanks for tagging along, and we'll talk to you in the comments. Bye now.